thanks for coming on the Need2Know comedy show. I'm actually in my car because I'm on my way to do a gig, my first gig in about 5 months tonight.
Oh,
So.
wow. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous because I can't remember. I don't know if I can remember my set, so it's kind of odd. So, where are you?
I'm in my parents' house in Toronto.
Oh, you're in Toronto.
Yeah, I was in London, and then I guess got out at like early March or mid-March when Trudeau said that people abroad should come back. My mom got really nervous and bought me a ticket.
Ah, okay, right, yeah. So, have you been doing any gigs at all, or even online gigs in the meantime?
I've been doing a couple online gigs, and then my friend has been putting up a show on her patio, and I've been doing that one the most.
Oh, cool.
But clubs are starting to open up now.
Oh, are they in
Yeah.
in Toronto? Okay, because this one I'm doing now is outdoors as well. So, nothing is allowed to open so far in Ireland, indoors that is.
Mm.
So you started off your comedy career in Toronto, yeah?
I did, yeah.
And what were you doing before that?
Nothing really, just high school, I guess, and then I that's what I took in school, like in post-secondary. So
Oh,
that's what I studied to do. So I didn't really have anything in between. I mean, I worked a bunch of like summer jobs and stuff, but yeah.
oh, so you took a course in stand-up or comedy in general, was it?
Comedy in general, comedy, writing and performance. So I did a 2-year program in Toronto, and then they have a bridging program that I ended up doing in Manchester, where in the program in Toronto you only get like a diploma, but if you do the other year you get a degree. So that's how I ended up in the UK in the first place.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. So, and do you think that it's helpful doing a course?
Uh, it, I mean, it can be, but I mean, I think some people people do it for a lot of different reasons. It was helpful for me. A lot of people do it to just go to school because their parents wanted them to go to school, and they're like, okay, I'll just do this because it seems. I mean, it is easy. Like they basically, you're not going to fail as long as you show up to class. But I mean, a lot of people will just say you can learn it on your own, which I do think is true. But I think it's a bit faster if you don't know anything, if you have a few people guiding you.
Yeah, I certainly think like maybe stand-up is something you have to learn by doing stage time, but other forms of comedy, writing and shooting sketches and editing, that you can certainly learn a lot from doing a course, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you do any improv as part of the
Yeah,
course?
I did. Yeah. That's the reason why I ended up actually going into the course, because that's what I was most interested in, and then I ended up hating improv and loving stand-up, so I moved
Oh,
over to there.
serious?
Yeah.
What did you not like about improv?
I ended up hating the reason why I liked it, which was you had like somebody else that you could bounce off of. And then when I started doing stand up, that was what scared me, I guess, at first too, was like not that you were alone, but then I was like, oh, I'm alone, but then everything I can put on myself. Like if I got a laugh, that's because of me. If I didn't get a laugh, that's also because of me. So I kind of ended up liking that. And then I also hated our improv teachers, so they kind of made me hate it as well.
Oh yeah, that will put you off. And
Yeah.
there's a I know, I think people have different attitudes to improv. Some people just want to stick to the rules of improv, which is
Yeah.
the rules is you accept everything and don't block. Sometimes blocking is funny, you know?
Yeah, like I mean, they always say that you're supposed to say yes but you can actually say no but a lot of times. You're still adding something. So
Right, yeah, but you'll get pulled up for doing stuff like that
yeah,
by certain people. I reckon, yeah, it's very important who you're doing improv with, because if they're idiots, there's nothing you can do. You're going to look like an idiot as well.
yeah.
So then when did you do your first stand-up gig while you were doing that course?
I did, yeah, because they force you to do it whether you like it or not. So they have a partnership with Yuck Yucks, which is like a club here, and
Yeah.
every Tuesday we have like a show that we sign up and we can do. And you can sign up pretty much as every week if you wanted to, but it's like you get stage time in a proper club, and that was like my first time going up there.
It's cool. And can you remember how it felt like very first comedy stand-up gig?
Yeah, it was not good. I did not enjoy. I don't know how I ended up continuing because it was not fun. And I remember someone, like a classmate, coming up to me saying like, oh, like in the year above, saying, oh, that was really good. And I was like, I think you're like insane, because that was not, I don't think we saw the same thing. I really bombed the first time. It was more like a TED talk, like the first time I went up. So I was talking about volunteerism. So I guess it was, it became a weird 2-minute lecture. Yeah, it was whatever.
It's interesting though that you knew it didn't go well. I find that a criticism I'd have of some younger acts is that they don't seem to notice when they're bombing.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen that a lot. Or it's like there people patting themselves on the back like at an open mic, and I was like, oh, okay, did we just see the same thing?
Yeah. And so they're not going to even change the material for the next gig. They're just going, yeah,
No.
that's fine.
There's like a comic I know who's been going for 5 years, who's been doing the same set, just bombing, and it just makes me, it honestly, it's depressing, but then it's also like, I don't know what to do with you.
Oh man, it's unbelievable. When I started out, I was running a show, like just to get stage time. I put on my own show so I could go on. But the acts that would always ring me to get booked were always those acts who were bombing every time. And then the next day they'd call me and go, so when are you going to book me again? They're just oblivious. It's,
Yeah.
it's very strange.
Unfortunately, they're the people who have the most confidence, and then a lot of times the people who are actually good are a bit, shy to ask for stage time.
Exactly. Yeah. Or they're really hard to contact or something.
Mm-hmm.
So did it take you a while, like, to find your voice, as they say, find the style that you felt comfortable with on stage?
Yeah, I think so. Like I always did like very short jokes because that's what I was used to writing, but I didn't find that, like, I guess how my way of going about it, and I don't think I found that until like few months before I did move over. I started doing a bit more like uh for lack of a better word, edgy or taboo subjects, things that nobody really wanted to talk about or could be a bit considered a bit more uncomfortable. So
Mm.
I remember like the last show I did where I got a lot of, like, they were enjoying, but it was like, I remember hearing like oohs, like, that in the crowd. And I ended up enjoying that. So after that, I continued to chase that a lot.
Yeah, gee, I love that. I love what you're doing because it's you're so like um I don't know. It's deadpan, but it's and you do tackle really dark subjects, but they're really well crafted jokes. So it's brilliant.
Nice.
Particularly love the one you do about um have a fourth semester
Try
abortion.
abortion, yeah.
Well, I won't. Yeah, but it's brilliant. If anyone wants to look at it, it's on YouTube. So, like, do you spend a lot of time? Would you have to have a joke totally written before you bring it on stage?
A lot of times I do, but I have like gone up with just premises and tried to work them out. Although I've done that a few times, but I find that it doesn't work as well for me a lot of times, because I find that if I want to like get a good word economy, like with a joke, that I have to be writing it. Because if I'm talking, I will just blabber on the subject for ages, and I find that it loses a lot of the meaning or the punch of it.
Yeah. So, like, I reckon your style is very different to mine. Your style is like yeah, you really just craft the joke, I think, and I guess you've got to have that written before you go on. Like I would probably go on and start just have a few bullet points when I'm first trying out a bit of material.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess you've got to have it really written, yeah.
For the most part, yeah.
Okay. And so that when you moved over to Manchester, was that a big difference in the comedy scene?
A little bit. I I would say that the comics there are just all over the UK are a bit spoiled, and I don't mean I don't mean to like be I don't mean that as a rude thing. I think that's just how their scene is. Like if you compare it to like Toronto, where there's mics, you can get up 3 times a night, really, but they're not going to be really great. But your people are just like really want to get the stage time. But I remember one of my first nights in Manchester, there was a comic and there was a open mic, sign up on the night. He was going, it was like the room was full, but he was going around and asking everyone like, oh, are you a comic? And then he was like, when he found out it was a room full of comics, he was really pissed off. But I was so thrilled to see that listening, because a lot of times it's like two dudes in a basement and they couldn't give a fuck about what you have to say. So I was just kind of like, oh, okay, something's different here. And I mean, it does show that you guys have a lot better shows a lot of times, like outside of the open mic scene. Like people are really hungry for it and do care to see comedy.
Right, more so than in Toronto, yeah.
I'd say that unless a big name is coming through, people really don't care. Like people come around and to see shows, but um I think you have to a lot of times win the audience over in
Yeah.
a way. Not that doesn't happen over there too, but I find that like I don't know. There's Toronto's just full of like hipster idiots, so you have to deal with that a lot.
Okay, right. And what about that? Have you gigged elsewhere in Canada?
Vancouver a bit. I only did like 2 shows there, but it was nice. Yeah, I don't really know, but every comic who I spoke to there was like, oh, is it true what they say that it's better in Toronto? And I was like, I don't know. Is it?
Right, yeah. But a lot of great comedies come out of Canada. I would have thought there would be a great scene there. I don't know much about it though. But,
I mean, this might paint a picture. It's like openers in the UK get paid more than headliners in Canada. Like the ceiling's really low, and like a lot of like people who have been doing it for years, who have paid their dues, who have done TV spots, are still struggling to make rent. So I mean, yeah, a lot of times if you want to, like I will say, like, yeah, Canada has produced like a lot of like really talented people, but a lot of times those people have left Canada to get recognition. They've either gone to the UK or to the States, and that's how they became known.
Oh, okay, right. It's a bit like the Australia of the Northern Hemisphere then.
Yeah.
So and what about your material? Would it be more shocking to an audience in Canada than in the UK? Like, more ooze.
I find that I have to explain myself more in when I'm back home here, like because I feel like people usually know that it's a persona in the UK, and I find that like I have to try to like be like, no, like you're getting me wrong, or like I have to over explain something. But yeah, I think it's not too far off from each other in terms of like the amount of like or pullback on certain things.
Right, yeah. Okay. But would you feel now that if when the pandemic is over that the UK would be your comedy home?
Oh yeah, like I definitely I'm planning to go back once I feel it a bit more safe about going back.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of my friends have started to move back from like their parents' house to London and other cities. So it seems like it's a bit better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's maybe getting better now. But and Were you planning to do Edinburgh this year?
I was, yeah.
And what were you doing? Were you doing your own show or a group?
No, I was gonna do. Well, last year I did a group show with a bunch of girls from back home, and that went really well. But then I was also gonna do like a split, half an hour each, with a friend. So I was kind of like most looking forward to that because the year after I was wanting to kind of do my first hour, but
Yeah.
I don't feel like I can do that without at least tackling like a half hour first.
Yeah. I would imagine so. Yeah. And do you feel like so if you were to do an hour, would you have to have a theme or just your best hour? I suppose.
I don't know. I think I thought about it. I think I would probably want to kind of have like a theme maybe towards the end that it would kind of pull a lot of like all of my points together. I mean, I guess I would hope, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. Like I've seen somebody. There was one comment on one of your live YouTube clips, and oh God, what is it? You can. I shouldn't really say this, but you compare your mother's vagina, sorry, to Oxford. Is it?
Yeah, I think I know. I normally say Cambridge, but
Oh,
whenever
Cambridge.
I'm in
Cambridge.
Cambridge, I say Oxford. So yeah, fair enough.
um, uh, in that. Uh, Sorry, can you explain the joke?
Yeah, I say that like I think they should have like nicknamed my mom's vagina like Cambridge Uni, just based on the amount of white men that have been accepted in there.
It was a brilliant joke, and yeah, in the comment section, someone is arguing about the fact that there aren't that many white men in Cambridge. Have you seen that comment?
Yeah,
It's
I
brilliant.
have seen that.
Just kind of totally missing the point, you know.
Yeah, just like
Even
I don't know. You
I'm
can't
sure.
expect, I guess, a lot. You can't expect a lot of intelligence from like a YouTube comment. Someone who's gonna put something that I don't know made him clearly upset because I've seen that he's like been replying to everyone being like, "Shut up," or more or less in their way, saying like you're an idiot. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but it's one of those YouTube things where it's completely gone off on a tangent, where people are arguing about
yeah.
white privilege, and that that really wasn't the point of the joke, But do you get any kind of uh, criticism in the sense that you do talk about race a little bit? Do you ever get any reaction from that?
Not too much, mostly because it's like I think people are aware enough that it's like, oh, it's not their place to police that. Well,
Yeah,
because it's like a lot of times you are uh gigging to a bunch of like middle class white people, and it's not going to look good for them if they're going to say you can't say this about your own race, right?
yeah, yeah,
So I've not really had anything like that, although I'm sure maybe someone has had a problem. There's always going to be someone who it may not sit right, but no one's ever said anything about that particularly. Yeah.
right. So do you think you would like to do other forms of comedy as you've obviously studied writing, and would you have shot sketches and that kind of thing when you went to college?
Yeah, we did like a lot of that. We did like we alongside with like the club that we had like to do stand up, we also had like a 1 day a week where we could put up sketch, so that we were able to do both. And so I did take advantage of doing that. And I've been writing like a lot more sketch during like lockdown, just submitting to like different shows and stuff. And if they don't take it, I'll just film it myself, I think. um,
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly during lockdown, a lot of people are good putting stuff up on social media. Have you done any of that as well?
I've filmed one thing and then I've not put it up, just because it was originally for like an online show, so I need to know if they're okay with me
Yeah.
putting it on my own thing, which they kind of should be, because it's my material. But it was just like basically I asked a bunch of people to send in their photos, and then I just roasted them. But there is like weird act out scenes in it, buttoning it. So yeah, I have been trying to do more online content, I guess, because what else?
Right.
I mean, what else is there to do right now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and what would you edit it yourself on iMovie or something?
Yeah, iMovie is I think what I used for that one. Premiere Pro is like another really good one. But
Oh yeah, right. I haven't used that, but and what about? Would you like to act?
yeah, I I used to. I was like in like I used to do a few like commercials here and there, and then I was in a drunk driving PSA that was, and I was the like my character was this girl who gets off with some guy at the house party, and then this guy this guy like drives us all home and ends up killing my best friend. So I mean, yeah, I used to do it, and then I stopped, but that was my one and only role.
Do you have to look really sad? Were you at the funeral in the ad?
Yeah, I did. I had to cry in the thing. We had because like they had so many like corny. The way they shot it was so corny. I guess it would have to be based on what it's about. But like there was like a fire in the back where the car was, and then each friend would step forward and cry about what we should have done, and they're like, oh yeah.
Wow. Well, you don't know how many lives you might have saved,
Yeah,
Erika.
maybe. I don't know. My melodrama might have taught some kid not to drink and drive, so I'll take that.
Yeah. And so, do you think it'll take you because of the style of comedy you do that it'll be a tough job trying to bring it out to an hour? Do you know, or do you,
Yeah, no, that's definitely like an anxiety I have because right when it's so dense, it does take me a while to fill. Like it's taken me quite a while to fill 20,
mm,
or like even like getting or stuff that I just like I've grown out of now.
yeah,
But yeah, I do. It's definitely an anxiety that I have. Like, oh, will I be able to get to an hour, or how will I go about
yeah,
doing that without not only like because that style is short. I would worry that people would get a bit tiresome towards the end, because that's like a criticism I've seen like a lot of times with like people who write short jokes, that it gets like, or someone wrote like that you kind of get the gag towards you get
oh,
tired of it.
oh, yeah. I guess people are guessing ahead of you. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think maybe I don't know who I heard saying this. Someone who does short jokes that you've got to do a piece that breaks all that up. I don't know whether it's a story or
I've heard that as well. That's saying
yeah,
what you tell a story when they get tired. That's how you bring them back if you're
or,
doing short jokes.
yeah. Because actually, people get tired of laughing. They need a
Mhm.
rest where they can just listen for a while.
Mhm.
But that's so hard to do when you're a comedian. You're going, this is shit.
Yeah, listening to the silence or like having to wait.
Yeah. Um, I'm sorry, I'm sweating here. It's quite hot in the car. Uh, very unprofessional. So, did I ask you, when I do these Need2Know shows, I always ask everyone to think of a comedian that I don't know probably, and most people don't know that they've seen that they would recommend. So have you anyone in mind?
Yeah, Louis Katz. That's probably I'd say my favorite comic, and he's not very uh well known. Um,
Right. Louis
but
Katz from
Louis,
where?
I think he's based out of New York, but I think he started in San Francisco. Um,
All right. And where did you come across him?
I just like started listening to his album. I really want to see him live. I've like, but how did I come across him? I think Spotify recommended his album, and I've been like a fan ever since. And now, well, like we weirdly follow each other on like Instagram, so that was like a cool thing for me, even though but yeah, he can like really like the way he writes a joke and the way that he like goes about things, like I really admire. And it's just like the ratio of like laughs are so high, and like how quick he is.
Wow. Okay, I'll check him out. Well, and when you were growing up, were there any comedians that you were influenced by before you even started doing comedy?
I think the only comic I really watched before I started doing it was Dave Chappelle, because that's who, like, I watched his sketch show and I would watch his stand up on like YouTube and stuff. But I definitely say that he was like an influence on me.
Right, yeah. And what about female comics?
Ali Wong definitely was someone who
Oh, right.
put like an influence on me. Aisha Brown, she's Canadian, but yeah, she's someone who I considered like a real influence, just like someone to look up to and inspire me. But yeah,
Yeah.
those two.
And would you say that the scene is getting more? There are more female acts now, and more really good female acts. It seems to be.
I think so. I mean, that's one difference I'd say that I've noticed between the UK and Canada with booking, is that usually there's at least like a couple female acts on lineup, but I've noticed that some of them, I was like, oh, a lot of times it's just me, which is like, it's better than nothing, right? But like, yeah, I think like there's a lot of good female acts out there. I think sometimes though, I've definitely been at shows where they've definitely wanted to just look good, and they've put on like a female open spot who is really not there yet, just to save their ass to have someone. And I think that that's not like, and I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but I don't think that's the way to go about it, because if someone's uninformed that like it's gonna like prove their stupid opinion that females aren't funny because they've seen someone who's not there yet. And like that really pisses me off, because I've seen it so much, especially in like the North, because there aren't that, especially in like Manchester specifically, there are a lot of really good female comics, but they're already past the like middle, that spot. And it's like, they're all like headliners now, or they all left. So yeah, there's a lot of times I've been sitting at shows and I'm just like, oh, this is not, I don't like the way this is going.
Yeah, right. And there's a recent article in The Guardian saying that there was a lot of misogyny or whatever in the comedy live scene. I mean, is that something that you've experienced?
I guess yes, I have, like to an extent. Like I remember a lot of times, just like us, not anything too extreme. Like I've just offhanded like comments, something that they wouldn't maybe say to like a male colleague. But like I've never really had that. Like I've heard some horror stories, and I do believe that happens. It's not like I've been fortunate enough that it hasn't happened to me. I think a lot of times I just go do my thing and leave. And that's probably because of, because I've heard so many, horrible things happen to other people. I don't necessarily always socialize if I don't, know them.
Right, really? So like just comments or groping, is that kind of thing?
Yeah, groping groping's happened to me, kind of. Like I remember, yeah. So like it wasn't like another comic hit me on like my ass, and I handled it there then and there. I like was like, I just yelled at him, so don't fucking touch people. You don't do that. Right. And someone, like a good friend of mine, was in the car share with him, and he said, it was like, that was the most awkward car ride I had to take, because it was like, I didn't want to be in the car with that person. And I felt bad, but he was also like, I'm not going to, he was such a cheapskate. He's like, I'm not going to buy a new ticket to get home. It's like, fair enough. But yeah, it does happen. Yeah, I don't know. It is a problem. I want to say that people are being held accountable now, which, I mean, they could be held more accountable, but like, because I still see people working and still have stage time who aren't, who have been called out or whatnot. But
Right. Okay. It's pretty shit, actually. Yeah. Hopefully things are changing, you know?
yeah, I mean, you'd like to say that they are, and I think that they're, people talking about it, and like it's moving in the right direction now that we're having a conversation about it. Like everyone's trying to a bit more aware about it.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I hopefully think it is moving in the right direction. Yeah. Um, it's shit.
Yeah.
It's pretty shit. And, like I don't know. It must be even be. I just think it must be even shit to be the only female on a bill, because backstage things might get a bit laddie. Even the people talking about football or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can definitely see that. I remember someone was like, "Oh, you're so quiet," and I was like, "That's because I don't like, even like the football like example. It's because I don't know what you're talking about. It's not something that I even know." But I mean, there might be. I mean, That's just because I'm not a football fan. But yeah, I mean, yeah, there's plenty of small. Like it would just be nice to see somebody. Also, then it's less pressure on me, right, to fill that like same uh like, oh, women, this, you have to really kill it or else they're gonna think that your entire gender is not funny.
All
Or,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So you feel that pressure of all women in comedy if you're the only woman on the bill, I guess.
yeah. The amount of times I've gotten like the compliment I get the most, which is so backhanded, is like, normally I don't find women funny, but you were really good. That's something I get a lot.
Serious, really. Good thing to say. You know, normally I don't, kind of thing.
Yeah, just say you enjoy. Like, you don't need to
Yeah.
have all that preamble. It would have been fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, being a comedy is, in a way, it's kind of a lonely enough life in a way, because you're traveling on your own to gigs and driving home on your own. Maybe you're sharing cars or whatever, but sometimes it can be. So it's bad enough anyway, without all the other shit piled on top. But there you go. But listen, thanks for coming on and accepting my invitation to come on the show. It's been really nice chatting to you. And I just came across your stuff online and absolutely love your stuff. Just amazing stuff. So
Well,
keep it
thanks.
up.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. It's been great chatting to you, Erika, and enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Good luck at the gig. Bye.
Oh, thanks very much. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.